Closed captioning for the Casey Malone Show is sponsored by Hunter Stevens Land Title Agency. Integrity, service, and commitment you can trust.
Oh yeah, Casey Malone is serving up local. It's time for the stories of our region, the tastes, the sights, the sounds, and the people in and around the valley. Get ready for some local flavor on the Casey Malone Show.
Today we visit the Tomcos, the purveyors of a tip-of-the-cap mushrooms. And I prepare mushroom barley soup with their shrooms. But first, a sustainable urban farm in Sharon using aquaponics. I have been waiting months to come here. Rob has finally granted me access. And we are at the West Wind Urban Ag Farm here at the old Westinghouse Mill in Sharon. It is a urban farm, and it is aquaponic.
Correct.
Not hydroponic.
Correct. So aquaponics is the marriage of aquaculture, the raising of fish, and hydroponics, soilless gardening. So aquaponics is technically the combination of both.
There is no soil used here for any of the plants.
Yeah, we don't get dirty, we get messy.
Okay, and we got to watch that we don't contaminate. That's why we are in our antibacterial gear. And we're going to get a tour of this, and you are going to be absolutely fascinated. And the best thing is, everything that you see grown here, we can purchase.
Correct. So as
This is
of
all for
November
sale.
1st. Yeah. So we've been trialing at the farmers market locally, but as of November 1st, we'll be ready for sale.
All right, let's go.
Let's do it.
Hello, fellow engineer.
So I've got Calvin and Mr. Thomas here. They're going to help us
Calvin
today.
and Mr. Thomas.
Casey Malone.
Very excited to be here.
So as I was mentioning earlier, we actually have a pretty methodical process. So we'll harvest from one end of the raft beds, we'll shift the rafts down, and then when we transplant, we'll load it from back here. So it's a conveyor belt system. The plants will only spend 14 days in the raft beds. That's why we have the NFT beds.
What is an NFT?
Nutrient film technologies is to be able to grow the plant for 30 days here. So once it hits the raft bed, it is exactly 14 days from front to back. So we have a methodical process to be able to gauge our plants. So this plant nursery is allowing us to grow more plants per square foot.
You have just the teeny weeny seeds?
Yes, these are the seeds that we use here. We have Savanola Red, Savanola Green. You're looking at Cherry Creek Crisp. I just take a few in my hand. We'll get a few out.
See how little they are?
And we take one. In each little hole that's in the rock wall, we just drop one seed in each hole.
And they all take?
Yes, they all take.
Once it's all done, he'll label it, goes into our germination rack for 3 days, and then you saw the process where we'll transplant and harvest.
So within 3 days, it sprouts
It's coming.
and it gets big enough to be put into.
Correct. Yep. So then I'll have light, so it start photosynthesizing and growing.
And in here, we have our plants in something called rock wool. We seed in these little holes right here. I don't know how well the camera can pick it up. They grow out nice and well. And then we take them apart, bring them over to the raft here, and then split it apart again, drop it in, and it's done. And once this tray is full, it can go into the bed.
And you take the whole thing out, root and all.
Yep. And then we actually root it. So if we were harvesting, we would pull the whole thing out, clean up any lower leaves, wrap the roots, give it a squeeze so you don't have too much water. We would put that in a clamshell, close the clamshell. That's how you'd have a head of lettuce. So I can keep this stuff in my refrigerator for 4 to 9 weeks. This is the fish nursery.
This is the nursery where the little, oh my gosh, they're so little.
They're 5 days since they've been at our facility.
And they come like this, like little teeny.
Yeah, they come in the mail. In summer, it's chilled. And we get them within 24 hours from New Mexico. We spend a half day acclimating them to our system water before we introduce them to our system.
And what do you feed them?
So we have a specialized fish food from Rangen. It's got your 30% protein as well as all your micro and macronutrients for the plant. So anything that passes through the fish turns into fertilizer. We feed these guys 3 times a day, the same time,
3 times a day. They're
every
just
day.
like people.
Yeah.
So is it, let's see, it
noon,
is
lunch.
noon, high noon.
So look, they're ready.
Look at this, they're splashing.
So sprinkle it towards the middle like a salt shaker and they'll come up and get it quickly.
Do I put the whole thing in?
Yeah, go ahead and throw the whole thing in.
Wow! Look at these guys, they're starving.
So once the fish are ready to be eaten, we will actually take them to a purge tank. And that's where we're really able to make sure you're getting the best tasting fish.
Now that is what I find interesting. So these are your future purge tanks.
Yeah, so there's two setups. So the purge tanks are in the back, and then this is a patented ZDEP, which is zero discharge extra production. So we're able to take all of the fish waste, put it through another bead filter, we circulate it, it breaks it down, it captures the solids, the nutrient-rich water gets pumped back to the raft tanks to add nutrients, and then you can take the solids and put them into a continuation garden, send them out for fertilizer, you
What
can dry.
exactly is the fish purging?
It's like putting them on a 3-day diet. So they store fat. That fat, stored fat, is actually where that fishy smell and flavor comes
Okay.
from. So a 3 to 5 day purge gets rid of just the stored fat. Now that that is gone, we can actually chill our temperature of our tanks to firm up the meat and be ready for sale for a live fish. We
And you
try to
sell
keep
them whole.
We'll sell them whole. And then we're working with a couple restaurant chefs and
fillet, yeah.
schools to fillet them and clean them because not everybody
Yes.
knows how or enjoys it.
Exactly, yes.
So we'll have somebody set up probably once a month to do that.
Yeah.
So, they're trying to produce the best, flavorful, cleanest product all year round
Yeah.
in an old torpedo factory. So
This is just freaking awesome, man. I mean, I am so impressed.
right, there's so
I
much.
want to do this. I might quit my job and come work for you.
So we are hiring and we do take volunteers. Food preservation is the next thing. Like we can produce 500 of these every day. Well, what if we're not selling or consuming 500 every day? What do we do with that?
So then you could
Get
either
into food
dry
preservation.
them,
Dry,
yeah.
freeze dry, air dry, can.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no waste. That's unbelievable.
waste.
Zero waste here.
So if you have any plant waste, it goes to the gardeners, so local farms.
How did they find you?
I found
Rob?
them.
You
So
found them?
I have done a lot of this as a hobby. I'm on a couple boards. So I was on my board for the Junior Achievements of Mercer County. We had our board meeting here, and one of the board members said, "Hey, they're building that aquaponics farm in the back." So I actually stood up from my board meeting and walked back here, and Bill, the plumber who was building this system, I was sitting back here and I sat back here for hours and talked to him about how the system works. And, he's putting this together and he's like, "Wow, I've learned more just understanding talking to you." And I said, "Make sure you tell the winners that so when they're ready for jobs." So I made myself readily available so that way when it was built in December, in January when they did the
I'm
hiring,
your guy.
here I am. So
Wow.
non-traditional ways or guerrilla styles of getting a job. It's not just get online and fill out a resume and hope somebody calls
Well,
you. Like you got to make
you
yourself
never thought
available.
It would happen.
No, not in Sharon.
And then, and look at it.
Especially not this size.
This is groundbreaking.
It is.
It really
It's
is.
awesome. We can give everybody in Mercer County a head and a half of lettuce. So there's 110,000 people in Mercer County. We'll grow 150,000 heads a year. That's impactful, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Would you like some basil? Absolutely,
Yeah,
you want
I
some basil.
basil. The Casey Malone Show will be right back with more local flavor.
We are getting close. Scaba Camp is almost here. A year-round destination for adults with disabilities and their families to get away, close to home. Accessible to all, with no barriers. Donate now to GABA Camp. Help others to enjoy this unique recreational destination. For adults with disabilities and their families to enjoy an accessible camping experience. Donate to GABA Camp. Given is living.
Kamara Jewelers is the place to buy an engagement ring because we want a relationship with you that lasts a lifetime. Your commitment with her is the same commitment we have to you.
We want to sit down with you and teach you about diamonds so you're educated on what you're buying. We have the largest selection we ever have, which is the largest in the area and at the best value. And if it's not something in our case, we could always custom make it. We can make any dream come true.
Get real, get Kamara. Rulli Brothers has a great choice of quality cheeses. We use our relationship with Old World Houses to specially select the product and then have it custom cut and packaged by our own local artisans. At Rulli Brothers Market, our family is in the store.
Locally sourced is good, whether it's ingredients or a bank, and that's why my bank is Farmers National Bank. Since 1887, Farmers has remained rock solid through every economic condition. Having a bank with a history of safety, soundness, and conservative management is a must. It all boils down to this. You need a bank that will help you reach your goals. I do too, and Farmers is mine. Farmers National Bank, rock solid.
You better come on in my kitchen.
Well, I gotta tell you, Craig and Michelle have an awesome setup over there at a Tip of the Cap Mushrooms. So I'm gonna be preparing a mushroom barley soup with some of their mushrooms. But I wanted to show you that I too can grow mushrooms. I got this mushroom growing kit from them, and this is the pink oysters, and I think tomorrow they're gonna be ready to harvest. So how cool is that? I'm making my own mushrooms, man. So that was very cool, and that was a lot of fun being over there. And I've got a variety of mushrooms that I'm gonna use, and it will be kind of vegetarian because I'm not gonna use any beef, but I am gonna use beef stock. But if you don't want to, you can use a chicken stock or even a vegetable stock. But I do recommend a pearled barley because it doesn't need to cook as long. Just make sure that you rinse it real well before you use it in the soup. So let's get started and we'll go over all the ingredients for mushroom barley soup. For this recipe, you'll need 1/4 cup of olive oil, 1 cup of chopped onion, 1 cup of chopped carrots, and 1 cup of chopped celery, 3 cloves of garlic minced, 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme chopped, 2 32-ounce cartons of beef, chicken, or vegetable stock, 1 pound of fresh mushrooms. I'm going to use pink oyster, freckled chestnut, and lion's mane. 1 cup of pearled barley rinsed, salt and pepper to taste, and chopped thyme and parsley for garnish. Well, before we start cooking, I'm going to chop up these gorgeous mushrooms. You still want them to be, you know, bite-sized. They will reduce a little bit when you're cooking them, but they really add such a nice flavor and different textures. And this lion's mane, let me tell you, it is just, look at that. You can make steaks out of this. And you just chop that into about, you know, 1/4 inch block. And this is a brand new one for me, the freckled chestnut. And just look how beautiful they are. And you just, I don't even want to break up the things, but they are just, I'm eating one, delicious. So use your steep pot, Dutch oven, 1/4 cup of olive oil. It's nice and shimmery. So I'm going to add the vegetables, the carrots, the onion, the celery, and you know, I'm using a cup each, but you can add more. I like a lot of vegetables in my soups. And then 3 cloves of garlic. So we are just gonna stir this around 5 to 10 minutes until it softens. So our veggies have softened nicely. Now it is time for the shrooms. Oop, in they go. Oh, and it's beautiful. You're gonna love this. This is a great, rich soup. No meat. So then what I'm gonna do is use about a teaspoon, so half of this thyme, and I'll use the rest for garnish. And then I am just going to mix this, coat it with the oil and vegetables before I add the stock and the barley. So now I'm gonna add the stock. Now I'm using beef, but really you can use whatever you like. And oh my gosh, if you have homemade stock, make sure you use that. But I think the beef adds that richness, especially with the barley. And it's just so much easier to buy the stock. I made turkey stock once though, after Thanksgiving. And I'll tell you, it was really good. I did like a turkey noodle soup. Okay, so we've got that in. Now, what we're gonna do is add the barley. Pearled barley, make sure you buy that because it doesn't take as long to cook and soften. Make sure you rinse it just like you do the rice for risotto. And then I'm gonna stir this and I'm going to turn up the heat, bring it to a boil for a little bit, and then I'll turn it back down, partially cover it, and it's probably gonna be between 45, 60 minutes. And this soup will be done. So you can see it is nice rolling boil. Now what we're gonna do is just partially cover it, leave a little vent, and then I'm gonna put it down to simmer. So, 1 hour, this rich, hearty soup. It is so good. Honestly, I've made this dozens of times and it really is so comforting. You're gonna love it, regardless of what mushrooms you use and what stock you use. You can use chicken or vegetable, but it really is a filling soup. And because of that, I'm using a little more lighter wine. It's a Vinho Verde from Esprel, Portuguese, super reasonable, and it has like a little effervescence, so it cuts through all those wonderful flavors. Delicious. You really are going to love this soup, and you saw how easy it is to make. Go to my website, CaseyMaloneShow.com, and look for the recipe for my mushroom barley soup. Cheers. The Casey Malone Show will be right back with more local flavor.
Rulli Brothers is way ahead of the competition. Check out Rulli Spice World, where you can buy bulk herbs and spices, plus candies, nuts, and fillings for pennies on the dollar. At Rulli Brothers Market, our family is in the store.
I'm Elizabeth Bernard. For more than 30 years, I've provided our Valley with sound legal advice. My associate Jennifer Righetti and I will be your legal representatives if you're involved in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident. Don't try to handle it yourself. We'll navigate the red tape of dealing with doctors, medical insurance, and all the obstacles that you'll face. Remember, there are no upfront fees on personal injury cases, and hiring a lawyer does not mean you have to go to court.
Call attorney Elizabeth Bernard, local legal experience for more than 30 years.
We are getting close! Scaba Camp is almost here. A year-round destination for adults with disabilities and their families to get away, close to home. Accessible to all, with no barriers. Donate now to Scaba Camp. Help others to enjoy this unique recreational destination. For adults with disabilities and their families to enjoy an accessible camping experience. Donate to Scaba Camp. Giving is living.
I'm at the world headquarters for a Tip of the Cap mushrooms. And this is run by Craig Tomko. And I've been enjoying the mushrooms from Rulli Brothers. And I had to come in when I found out you were local. Yep. And you have no idea the operation. I am shocked at what it takes to grow mushrooms. I thought, maybe it was some manure, throw some spores on it, and we got mushrooms.
Nah, not quite.
It's a lot more scientific, isn't it?
It's a little deeper than that.
And what was your reasoning? Well, how did you get into mushrooms?
Well, it's kind of a strange story. We started, I was working for the sheriff's department, and I've always wanted to own my own business. And the opportunity came up, and my wife suggested growing mushrooms. And I kind of, okay, honey, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Great.
And did you know anything about it?
Nothing.
It was just out of the blue.
Right. So I started doing some research on it, and I thought, wow, this is really interesting, and it had a lot of aspects of things I like to do, like the lab work and stuff like that. I just find that fascinating. And so it combined a bunch of different things, and we had the space here. That wasn't being used for anything.
Perfect.
Yes, it is. It is perfect environment. So we had the space, and I thought, I can do this.
So when you began, how long did it take from inception to your first product?
Almost a year.
Wow, I mean, that's,
almost a year.
Heavy time consuming.
Yeah, it was during COVID, and a lot of the resources for the right people to get to do this stuff weren't available.
Right.
So I had to learn to do a lot of it myself. And, it started with painting and carpentry and plumbing and electrical and
you really need like a sterile environment to do this. You can't just...
Yeah, your mushrooms compete with other funguses and bacteria and things like that. And we try to create an environment for the mushrooms that is ideal for them to grow in. So you have to, it has to be very clean. There's a lot of equipment involved in making sure that mushroom has the perfect environment to
with
flourish.
No contaminants or
Right.
anything. But it starts with wood pellets and
soybean hull. Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean, this looks like bunny food.
Yep. Yeah, actually it is used in bunny food.
Is it?
So, yep.
So these are the soybean pellets, and then these are the wood pellets. Is there any special wood?
Hardwoods. A lot of people like to use just oak, but mine is a mixture of different hardwoods that the mill that makes the pellets have available at that time.
So this is your base.
Yep.
And where do we go from here?
Well, it gets put in a grow bag, which looks like this, and water's added to it. It has a filtration patch for air exchange. And then it goes into our steam barrel over here, which is, it's not quite a sterilization process, it's actually a pasteurization process.
Okay.
But it's basically killing off all the competing bacteria and funguses and spores and everything else that the mushrooms would have to compete with.
After everything's been sterilized, you then inoculate.
Yes.
With the
liquid culture,
spores. Could you call them liquid spores?
They're not actually spores. You can start with spores, but it's a whole lot more work.
Okay.
So
because this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
I can't imagine more.
Spores are what the mushrooms actually drop.
Right.
You need two compatible spores to join together to make the gene set. To make the gene set to form the mycelium that will grow mushrooms.
So this has been inoculated.
Yes.
And this white growth is good.
Yes, that's mycelium. That's the actual plant of a mushroom.
And then you want this whole bag to be white?
Yeah.
And then it's ready to go.
Right. And this will then inoculate 7 to 10 of my actual large grow blocks that we just talked about in the tank. That's
They're
the lab.
inoculated, and now they come in to incubate.
Right. This is our incubation room here.
All of this is different stages.
Yep. You can see the difference in size. One of these bags will inoculate 7 to 10 of these bags.
So now this is the big reveal. What do you call this room?
This is our grow room. This is where the magic happens.
All right, come on in. Over here is where we have the lion's beard, lion's mane, and you just slice the bag and they just pop out the sides.
Yeah, you close the bag down over the block, cut a slice in the side, and that's where the mycelium will know to grow the mushrooms from.
Wow. What are your favorites, Jim?
I would have to say the pinks are my favorite. They taste wonderful, and I absolutely love the color.
And how would you prepare that?
These ones, I've actually Oh man, I made my girlfriend a pink chicken linguine. So I took the pinks, I sauteed them down, a little salt, pepper, butter, garlic, and a little bit of our pink spice rub. Then I reduced that down, let the mushrooms cook until they were nice and small. I then used a cornstarch slurry to just thicken it up with a little bit of cream. Added that to the pasta and the sauteed chicken. It was absolutely phenomenal.
So now, Michelle, you are in charge of making sure these all get delivered, correct?
Correct. Mostly, yes.
So look at these. These are going out today.
So we harvested those yesterday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So
What
we
about
always
the
put the
pinks?
little tags on there when they were harvested, so
Yes,
you know.
the harvest date. And you say a good week.
Yeah. Some of them, like the king trumpets, it really just depends too on the environment that they're in the store. We try to like deliver twice a week so that we can keep the freshest ones there possible for everybody. But yeah,
These
a good
are
week.
absolutely beautiful. Now, you have got all kind of stuff going on. You're making spice rubs, and you're a very good cook. Telling you, and there's going to be new varieties, and hopefully the shiitakes will be up by
Yes,
then.
I hope so. Yes.
Okay,
Well,
I really
definitely.
appreciate it.
Oh, I had so much
Thank
fun.
you. A tip of the cap. For more information regarding any content from our show, please visit our website, CaseyMaloneShow.com. Your comments and ideas are appreciated. The Casey Malone Show is sponsored in part by Denise and John York and the DeBartolo Corporation. I'm scared. All right. Do I put the whole thing in?
Yeah, go ahead and throw the whole thing in.
Wow! Look at these guys. They're starving.